India has been riddled with inequality for a long time, but it has intensified in recent years, especially during pandemic. While India ranks 5th in world based on GDP and as the fastest growing major economy, this growth has been accomplished by sharp rise in inequality. According to the recent UNDP report on Asia Pacific human development, in the time that India added nearly 40 billionaires, 46 million other Indians fell below the poverty line, while India's per capita income has risen from $442 to $2,389 in the past 2 decades. The statistics hides the reality that how much of the new income and wealth generated has gone to the top 1% and top 10% of the population. While the poor have become poorer, per capita income growth has also been heavily concentrated in some states. Lagging states accommodate 42% of the total population are home to 62% of those living below the poverty line. Therefore, the disparity within the nation has increased both in terms of income and wealth. The highest earning 10% of population receives 57% of country's total income, with just top 1% receiving 22% of it, marking one of the most imbalanced income distribution. Likewise, wealth disparities are evident with the wealthiest 10% of the population, possessing over 65% of the nation's overall wealth. The UNDP report poses an important question: why has India experienced growth inequality despite notable economic growth in recent decades?
The latest World Inequality Report marks India an unequal country with the top 10% of the population holding 57% of India's total national income in 2021.
The Oxfam report, which is going to be discussed at the World Economic Forum, is taking center stage. It says particular things about India. So if the idea is to present a reality check of inequality as it stands in the country.
Indian economy is poised to in fact outperform the other major economies over the next few years. There are several challenges that the government faces. And amongst them is inclusive growth for all.
India's election has a new flashpoint: wealth redistribution. Wealth is redistributed to address inequalities. India is among the most unequal countries in the world. The top 1% of the population in India holds 40% of the wealth, 40.
And here, the first collaboration between billionaires Mukesh Ambani's Reliance Industries has picked up a 26% stake.
मोदी सरकार अंबानी अदानी के लिए काम करता है, आप लोग यही करते हो। सिर्फ 2 उदाहरण देना चाहता हूँ।
To answer this question, it is important to reflect on India's planning regime post-independence, which emphasized on socialism, that is from 1950s to 1980s, helping to reduce inequality. That approach reduced the concentration of economic power among the rich, and the share of national income that went to the top 1% of the population fell from 12% in 1951 to 6% in 1982. In between, the 1991 reforms were the major drives of inequality in India. Gains more support when annual survey of industries data is exclaimed. The assertion that 1991 reforms were the major drives of inequality in India. In 1981 to 82, India's organized sector displayed a net value addition of approximately Rs 14,500 crore. Workers received 30.3% of this as wages during this period, while factory owners and shareholders gained 23.4% as profit. The share of wages before liberalization stayed at 30% or above the 30%. However, after liberalization, there was a noticeable decline in the portion allocated to workers' wages, even as there was steady rise in profit shares. By 2019 to 2020, the net value added had risen to rupees 12.1 lakh crore. Only 18.9% was directed towards worker wages, while profit surged to 38.6%. A more recent reforms that has increased the disparity within India is introduction of the goods and service tax GST in 2017. Moreover, in the same period, the government reduced the corporate tax to encourage business within the country to invest. These two factors have contributed to intensifying the inequality by increasing the share of indirect taxes and decreasing the share of direct taxes in India's tax revenue kit. Indirect tax on goods and service bought or sold, is paid by every citizen irrespective of their income class. It includes a tax on goods like food and services. On the other hand, direct tax is the tax that business pay on their profit and citizen pay on their income above a certain level. Therefore, when the share of indirect taxes in the total tax collection is high, imposes a more equal distribution of the tax burden among unequal citizens. This equal distribution is not equitable since the poor are forced to contribute equally to the tax collected as the wealthy. This drives up inequality, which is just what the introduction of GST has been doing. The disparity within India has grown to such an extent that minor policies aimed at addressing inequality might prove to be ineffective. Therefore, a more drastic and comprehensive approach must be adopted. Implementing a wealth tax, for instance, could play a significant role in reducing inequality. By taxing accumulated wealth of the richest individuals, the government could generate additional revenue to invest in social welfare programs, education, and healthcare, fostering greater the economic opportunity for the unprivileged. However, accurately determining the values of assets of the wealthy can be challenging, leading to potential disputes and taxation. The wealthy may relocate their assets or even themselves to countries with more favorable tax regimes, resulting in capital flight and reduced tax revenue. Therefore, a wealth tax must be carefully crafted to be effective. Considering these challenges, while striving to strike a balance between reducing inequality and promoting a thriving economy, further providing a better social security along with aggressive investments in health and education, region specific investment, particularly in agriculture, skill enhancement, and employment generation, is needed to balance the two sides of coin, growth and inequality.